Hiya, bookworms. Welcome back to Chapter 1 and Beyond. I'm Christina, and you're listening to Episode 6. And this one's all about the thrillers. Woohoo! I love this subject. Thrillers, mystery thrillers. Definitely amazing. In all seriousness, though, they definitely had me flipping like a detective. Just kidding. So, if you love jaw dropping twists, eerie atmospheres, or stories where everyone is a suspect, you're going to love this episode. Let's get into the tension, the mind games, and yes, the books that messed with my sleep schedule. No pun intended on that. All right, now that I've calmed myself down a little bit, let's get into section one of this episode. What I love about thrillers and mystery thrillers. Oh my gosh. Okay, what draws me into these stories? A lot of things. I am personally into like the true crime type stuff, like Sherlock Holmes meets eerie creepiness. So, um, I personally love these kinds of books just because, like, as soon as I got exposed to thrillers and horror books and even mystery thrillers, to stay on subject, I like looked at it as, ooh, how is this going to unravel? How many twists can come out of it? You know, if I cannot predict an ending, I believe it's a great thriller. Because there are some very not so great thrillers out there. Maybe unpopular opinion, but I absolutely hate Frida McFadden books. Sorry, spoiler alert. um, I don't like them at all. I think it's way overhyped. I personally, um, I mean, like I personally was able to, predict down to the button with Do Not Disturb. That was the one and only book that I read of hers, and maybe I just need to give it another try. I don't know, but honestly, like I just don't see what the hype is on it. So, I mean, like my big thing is that if you can give me the creepiness, if you can give me the guessing and the flip turning all the way through, you have me sold. You know, I would say like a lot of the favorite tropes that I like with thrillers is that the cold cases, so it's like a mystery of like who done it type thing. Believe it or not, I have never read Agatha Christie. I've been told that I need to, and I haven't. But I mean, we'll get into like some of the books that I have read, but let's just keep on subject here. But I mean, for me, like how thrillers differ from horror, there is sometimes overlap, and I will say that some books that were classified as horror, I would say they're more thriller. And I'll get into that in the next segment of this episode, but that's what really draws me in is being able to see that we have these very similar genres, if you will, but there's like a clear difference. Like horror is meant to like kind of get you to feel and like get the fear factor out in you, and like it really draws you in. And I've noticed like a lot of horror books that I have read recently, they personally are more of like, hey, let's unravel the mystery and find out why this spirit or whatever is trying to talk to me, or why it's trying to scare the crap out of my kids, like, or why is this scene gruesome, like why are they trying to murder me? I don't know. But like, but with thrillers too, it's very similar to that too, like at least from what I've seen. And like I said, I'll get into in a minute, but it's like, I don't know, there's just something different about the storytelling with thrillers to me that really gets my adrenaline pumping, and it's just like I really need to like find out what happens in the end. Um and the next section that I'm going to be talking about is the favorites I have read and that have stuck with me. And I will say like this first one, um truly hands down, like I could not put this book series down, and it was the Truly Devious series by Maureen Johnson. It's technically a YA like mystery thriller, but to me it really read like something in between that. I'm gonna be honest, like yes, the kids, the individuals that are in this, they go to this like prep like boarding school or whatever, and like the school is for like elite special ability type people. So like not supernatural per se, but like they're very talented. They're like, extra smart or genius or whatever have you. And the main character, Stevie Bell, she is like locked into investigating and, solving this cold hard case that happened many, many years ago at the boarding school. And she is just I just love the character in general with Stevie. Stevie has like this spunk and she's like determined and she's got this confidence, and it's just like a really good mix of like, the timelines and the atmosphere, and like you can really feel like that you're at this elite boarding school. I really love the character arcs in this series, and quite frankly, I've only read, I think there's two more books that I still need to read of this series, but I know I've read like, I think I've read up to like three or four of the series. I know I read Truly Devious, Hand on the Wall, in a the Boxwood, I think is the other one I read. I will get the titles for you, I promise. Okay. I found the titles. I apologize. So the first one is called Truly Devious. The second one is The Hand on the Wall. The third one is The Vanishing Stair. I know for a fact I read these three and they were absolutely from start to finish amazing. I personally, like my two favorite ones were like The Hand on the Wall and Truly Devious, but I will say like, The Vanishing Stair was really good too. I think that there might be two more books in the series, and I'm trying my darndest to remember if there is. It might be novella. Oh yeah, no, there is. Okay. The Box in the Woods. That's another one I read of that. Okay, so I'm only behind by two, but one hasn't been released yet. So the one book that I haven't read out of that series is Nine Liars. And the boarding school is called Ellingham Academy. So just so that like there's context with that. But I mean, she really like that main character just really stands out to me, and like it's really like a slow build mystery. There's like a lot at stake, but I would say like it's really good. It's like a page turner, and I highly highly recommend it. Even if you don't like YA, that specific series really got me hooked to like mystery thrillers and things like that. It reminded me a lot of not necessarily the next book I'm going to be talking about, but it kind of reminded me a lot of like Nancy Drew books. I don't know if any of you have read that in like your childhood, but it kind of reminded me of that, or like Sherlock Holmes style stuff. But it's very cool. It's like like a modern day like, setting, and you have all these amazing characters, and there was like a lot of suspense, and there was like a lot of what ifs, and I was really questioning like, some of the motives of some of the characters. But I'm gonna be honest with you, it was great from start to finish. I can't wait to pick up Nine Liars, but I really got to get through my physical books before I can go out and tackle. I know I confessed that I had broke the cardinal rule of buying more books, but like I have like absolutely stopped buying books because I really am determined to follow through with this challenge and get through my physical reads. But anyways, the next book I want to talk about is The House Across the Lake by Riley Sager. Oh my gosh, I love Riley Sager. So I am obsessed with Riley Sager. The first book that I read of his was Home Before Dark, and that was like a very popular one that everyone just kept talking about, and I got hooked. Ever since like I read Home Before Dark, I got hooked. But The House Across the Lake, it's about like this actress that's watching the neighbors through binoculars. Um so like it's kind of like this actress is on like a leave, if you will, and she recently had some horrible things happen to her, and she seems like she's got an alcohol problem or whatever, but um it had a paranormal twist to it, and like it was really twisty and bendy and everything, and I really enjoyed it like via audiobook, but I plan on rereading it again via my physical book, just because like I feel like when I was listening to it and working, there were some details of the story that I didn't catch on right away, and I feel like it kind of um, I was really like having a hard time like kind of figuring out like what the ending would look like at the end. And that's what I do love about like Riley Sager. Like he's very twisty, and like even when you think you have it figured out, it's it's not figured out. So, um is it my favorite of Riley Sager? No, but I still recommend it cuz like it really gave me like uh Evelyn Hugo. I think it's by Taylor Jenkins Reid. But it kind of gave me that vibe. I don't know. But yeah, I definitely recommend that one too. And then of course, like I had mentioned, Home Before Dark. I cannot begin to tell you how amazing this book is. If you like things like haunted houses and like eerie vibes and all that, I definitely think this would be the perfect thriller for you. It is like it's a little confusing because as you're going through the story, you're reading the book that her father made famous of this house, and she doesn't really remember like a lot of the items that happened, and it goes back and forth a lot, and it's real like sometimes it is hard to like follow, but I have to say like the amount of detail that went into creating the story and then creating the story that was written by her father, I was like, oh, clap, snaps to you. Like, this is amazing, because like it really gets you thinking that it's like a horror leaning thriller, and it's very suspenseful, it's very creepy. There's like a lot of like family secrets, and it really does blend well with like the horror and mystery. But I personally liked it because like I felt like I was reading two stories in one, but also the fact too is that how this story unravels, it just blew my mind, the ending. And I'm not gonna do any spoilers, but I would say if you like haunted house vibes and all that, this is the thriller book you want to check out, because it is that good. And normally with thrillers, I usually read them once and then done. But honestly, I feel like I could reread that book over and over and over again because I love the book so much. The characters were great, and it just gave me everything that I was expecting. Like when it come to like creepy paranormal vibes, and then like trying to figure out like as things unravel. Um, so I'm probably gonna get on like a little rant with Riley Sager because the next few books are all by Riley Sager. And you'll see why like I'm obsessed with him because I've read pretty much most of the books that he has written. So the next book I want to talk about is Lock Every Door by Riley Sager. It is about this young woman that gets a dream job of apartment sitting in a historical NYC building. It has like these old urban legends and like dark secret type stories that rumor has, and it's really rooted off of like urban fears, and like people have died in this building, and it takes real privilege and a thorough background check to even get this apartment sitting job. But I this book had me like flipping the pages because like how it unraveled, like each of the characters had me suspicious, but each one towards the end, like I was like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, like, so I just I don't know how else to describe it other than like a lot of people think that it's like kind of cultish, but I don't know if like saying it's not is spoilery, but it's so good. It's good. Like and like you're unraveling like a lot of the urban history and all the urban fears while the storyline is going on. So it really is eerie. It really made me turn the page. It really had a lot of twists towards the end and a lot of twists that I really did not see coming. Like I just was blown by the time I finished that book. Um I would definitely say if it were a toss up between Home Before Dark and Lock Every Door, I would definitely say Lock Every Door was even more of my favorite than Home Before Dark. And Home Before Dark is what really got me into this. Oh my gosh, I need to read more of this guy and blah blah blah. Um, but yeah, I mean, if you like the type of like urban fears and like like trying to unhinge like dark secrets that happen in this mysterious like historic building, I definitely recommend Lock Every Door because you get like a lot of like the atmospheric vibes of like living in the Big Apple and like jobs and how much like the pacing and the tension can get from the storyline. It's just like chef's kiss. It's very good. And it's not anything like the next book I'm going to be talking about by Riley Sager, which is Middle of the Night. This one, I'm gonna be honest with you, this one was like really hard for me to keep focused on, only because of the fact that the way that it kind of paces is a little bit like slower. I'm used to like with Riley Sager books, like everything kind of just like, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, and then it's like with this one, it's about a man who returns to his childhood home, and like the childhood home, there was like something really traumatic that happened. His friend disappeared, and like he just keeps having like flashbacks and things like that. But I have to say that it's like it really brings in like grief and guilt on an emotional way level, which I mean may not be for everybody when it comes to thrillers. I would say like this one is definitely more grounded than twisty. Because like I mean like towards the end, yes, there were twists, but it was like some of them were predictable. I'm gonna be honest. It is a newer book of his. And it's definitely full of like the really well done flashbacks. Like I mean, the amount of like detail that went into each character and how it unraveled was very well done. Like I think he does a beautiful job of like giving you these characters that you feel for, and then you eventually like, oh my gosh, like I didn't realize they were like capable of doing such things. So that one, like I don't have that much. I would say that's like if I were to tier rank like my Riley Sager books that I've read, I definitely would say Lock Every Door is at the very, very top, with the ones that we discussed so far. So Lock Every Door would definitely be at the highest of the list. Home Before Dark would be the second. I would say The House Across the Lake would be just below that one, in the Middle of the Night would be below that. But I have read The Only One Left by Riley Sager, and this one I would say would match in between Home Before Dark and Lock Every Door, or Lock Every Door and Home Before Dark. Like this one was really good too, and I would say it really got me like turning the pages because it's about like this caregiver that takes a job in this cliffside mansion, and this woman who's been accused of murder, she's trying to relay her story with one finger. And I'm gonna be honest, like I was like, okay, this is like really dramatic. Like I don't know why like someone would want to relay their story with one finger, but it really, how it was done, it was like, okay, like I'm really liking the vibes of this creepy ass house because Home Before Dark was a creepy haunted house. But this one had more of like gothic vibes. So if you like gothic type thrillers and stuff like that, I would say that's more in line with what the only one left is. There was like family secrets, there was like suspicion, and it was like a lot of page turning, and it really had that strong sense of like southern setting. So like I would say like Home Before Dark was more of like a northeast region feel, whereas Home the only one left was more of like, hey, I feel like I'm kind of in the deep south in this mansion, and it really kind of like, I love the fact that Riley Sager does these atmospheric type books because you really do get a feel for the environment that you're in. And like the only one left, it does kind of bounce between timelines, but it's also, really good because it like kind of keeps you second guessing on, what you're kind of reading at this point. Um so yeah, I mean that's the stint of my Riley Sager rant. So we're gonna move on here. So let's see. Yeah, I guess we could go on to this next bit. Man, I got quite a few books that I do have on this list. So maybe I'll like kind of, I don't know. I don't want to bore you, but at the same time too, I want to make sure I cover all of them. But um The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo by Stieg Larsson. I This was like one of the very first books that I read of adult thriller. I would say like the Riley Sager stage of my thriller reads has been much more recent than the Stieg Larsson, but um, this is where I kind of got into like corruption and like cold hard cases and like twisty and intense, and it's gritty and deeply investigative. Like I personally love like a good like, hey, I'm trying to solve this crime, but we get into the gritty details of how this is going to unravel. Like that just stuck with me with this one. But it's about a disgraced journalist and a brilliant hacker investigate a decades old missing person case. And I personally love this one. It's been like a good decade since I've read this book. So um, I definitely will in the future try to reread this one. I personally think this would be absolutely fantastic if you were doing a mystery thriller like marathon or a challenge or something like that. This definitely should be one of the ones that are on your list. And even this next one, The Silent Patient by Alex Michaelides. Oh my gosh, I cannot pronounce this. Alex Michaelides. Oh, Michaelides. Okay, yeah, yeah. There we go. Oh my gosh. Ugh. I'm so bad at pronouncing names. It's not even funny. But The Silent Patient, totally different author, but I still think this would be perfect to add into your thriller challenge next up, readathon type thing. But a woman shoots her husband, never speaks again. A therapist tries to unravel this silence that she's under, but it's really like intense and psychological pacing, and there's like a really really crazy twist in this one. I got like a sense of like eeriness like throughout this whole thing because I was pretty convinced that, oh yeah, she definitely did it, but then it was like, oh my gosh, like look at this detail and then this detail, and it's like, whoa. Like I did not see half of it coming. But that was like my first one of Alex's thrillers that I've read. And honestly, it's so good. Like if you're looking for like a psychological thriller, I would definitely recommend The Silent Patient. And then the next one, The Maidens by Alex Michaelides. Oh, I did that a lot better this time. This one is like it really gave me vibes of like Ninth House. I don't know if any of you have read that. It's Ninth House by Lee Bardugo, I believe. And it's like a dark academia-esque type book, but I'd say like The Maidens is like kind of like similar to it. Um I mean, this one is more of like a therapist investigates a string of murders tied to a secret society at Cambridge University. So it's like a academic setting with like Greek themes, and it's less twisty but more literary. And the atmos over action, it's like more of like atmosphere over like the actions that are taking place. It really is worth like introducing it to your book club if you are interested, because there is just so much to talk about in this book, and it is so good because like there's just like these little Easter eggs throughout the story, and it's like, ooh, I really need to talk to someone about this because like there's just like so much. It really felt like there was like a lot of like Greek influences, like maybe even Greek mythology kind of like buckled into it. And it was just, it was really good. Like I would say if like I was comparing against Ninth House, I would definitely say The Maidens was so much more intense. But like, I mean, I'm gonna be honest with you, even Ninth House by Lee Bardugo, um, it had that thriller aspect, but it was more of like, hey, like we're getting into like the magic system and stuff like that. So that's why I still kind of categorize Ninth House as more of like a fantasy-esque, like magical realism type thing. But anyways, okay. So Small Angels by Lauren Owen. This one was very interesting. It's set in a haunted English village, and this wedding that is about to occur stirs up old spirits and buried memories that happen within the village. It's really like a gothic type, um it's kind of like gothic type influence, but it's got like a blend of like ghost story, so it's like kind of paranormal. I would say it's more of like an atmospheric suspense more so than a thriller, but it still has that like twistiness and eeriness, and I definitely would say it's still more of like a thriller per se, but um I really like the characters in this one. The fact that it was in an English village, not just like this modern day city like whatever, but it was really interesting on how everything unraveled just because you're kind of unfolding the mystery that has been held in that village for quite some time. So I definitely would recommend if you're looking for more of like a gothic type feel, definitely Small Angels should be on your list. Okay, so moving quite along here, and I just realized that some of my notes for the only one left, they're, well, I'll correct myself later. So this next one is by Stacey Willingham. It's called A Flicker in the Dark. It's a psychologist's past catches up with her when girls go missing, just like when her father was convicted years earlier. And hit this one definitely does have a southern setting. It really kept me second guessing throughout the whole book. It was a very satisfying read for me, just because like I personally didn't know what to expect from it. I didn't really know too much going into this one, and I personally loved, love it. Like, and I know like a lot of these I love them, but this one really stood out to me because like the unreliable narrator and stuff was great. The twists and turns absolutely fantastic. The second guessing and trying to figure out this from this, yeah, definitely a page turner. So I would say if you're looking for something that's definitely a page turner, you should definitely be checking out A Flicker in the Dark by Stacey Willingham. All right, and then the last one I want to talk about, because I think I'm gonna do a different episode for. Yes, I am. Okay, so the last one I want to talk about is called Hidden Pictures by Jason Rekulak. So this nanny gets a job as an in-home nanny, and she's watching over this child. And as like she's watching this child, it was they start drawing these like disturbing drawings and images, and like things start happening, and it's just kind of like a who done it, like what happened, and like kind of piecing it all together. But it was really, this one I wanted to include in this episode only because of the fact that this one is very unique. This was more, um, so I had listened to it on audiobook, but then I was also flipping through the pages of this one, and I cannot get over on how much visual storytelling takes place in this one. It is so cool. Like there's just like this really great mix of like eeriness and creepiness, but it's also like super clever on how like the story kind of gets told. You have like all these like actual like drawings like of what you would expect to see from the child, and it was really cool because like I really got a sense of like the visual storytelling as opposed to just the audio bit. And the character, it was very fast paced and the character arcs were really great. But I just, the twist that happened in this one, like I just really didn't see it coming. And I'm not going to give anything away, but I definitely feel like this is like, one of those instances where it's supposed to be a horror book, but it really is a thriller. And I would say it's more of like a paranormal psychological thriller to me. But um, you got to read this book. Like even if it's just a one and done thing, you really need to put this on your TBR because I have not seen anything as unique as what was done with this book. And I personally would say like between all of these titles that I mentioned, this one is by far the most unique way of telling and unlocking a mystery or story of any sorts. So definitely check that out because it is so good. So good. All right, so now that I've like gushed about the ones that I absolutely love and I cannot get enough of them, aka like Riley Sager and all the pieces in between, but the next section like I want to talk about within this episode is like the thrillers that I couldn't stand and why thrillers hooked me in to begin with. Like for me, like thrillers hook me in because of the edginess and like the way that a story is told. Like I love the storytelling and the characters that usually come with thrillers. Um and like I had mentioned at the very beginning of this episode, if you can hook me in, like if you can get me to really start turning those pages and really second guess like what I thought initially, and then totally surprise me towards the end, I'd say like it's a done deal. Like definitely loved it. Now, there are some thrillers, like I mentioned, that I really didn't like. And, I know that this title is shared so much, but I cannot get, no. This book just pissed me off to no end. It's called We Used to Live Here by Marcus Clearwer. Um, Klewewer. But it's a debut horror thriller, and it follows Eve and her partner, Charlie. They're LGBTQ plus, who buys this fixer upper in the Pacific Northwest to flip, and they Eve gets visited by this really strange family, and they just come unannounced, claiming that they used to live there, and all this stuff starts happening. Like a child disappears. Like it really starts like really playing with you psychologically because you're really not sure like how the timeline is going. And like I will say that ending just pissed me off so bad because it's like you build up all this suspense and you do all these cool things with Morse code and like mixed media, and like I was listening to this on audiobook and I was like, "Oh my gosh, it's building." And then it's like, "Really?" Really? Like I literally said that out loud. I was like, "Really? That's it? That's it." I hate that. Like I absolutely hate when they just abruptly end it and it's just like, "Why? Why did you do that?" You know? So like I mean, it gave me like it really did build up tension. Like it did very well with that. Like I could barely put this book down just because I was really like freaking out for Eve and for Charlie, and the different like conspiracy documents, like all of like the mixed media was really really cool. Like I will say that. But that ending was enough to tell me that this author just did not give two craps. Like they were just like, okay, I'm building, and then okay, done. Like I just, oh, like, I hate those kinds of thrillers. I'm gonna be honest with you. And then there's like, you know, the Turn of the Key by Ruth Ware. You know, like that really built up throughout, and it really gave me the vibes of like, like voodoo magic and stuff like that. I was like really expecting it, and then like, you know, then the ending just, and I'm not giving it away because it just like really pissed me off on that one too. So I mean, like, I just can't stand thrillers that build you up so much and then like just drop the ending like it's a freaking pancake. Like I don't know about you guys, but I mean I can't be the only one feeling like this. I know I've talked to a few people that absolutely love that book. We used to live here, but uh, I would not recommend it to anybody just because of that ending. Like if you want to like read it all the way up to like maybe like the last, I'd say like the last 20 or 30 pages is where it gets ruined. I mean, like if you skip the last 20 to 30 pages, like just yeah, I just ugh, I can't with that book. Like, but yeah, like what I want to read next when it comes to my thrillers, I definitely want to read Rebecca by Daphne du Maurier. I've been hearing really good things about what is it? For it. It's not on my cart, but I've been hearing really good things on like these other psychological thrillers by Lisa Jewell. Lisa Jewell is another one I really like, but I know it didn't make the cut for this episode, but I know she just came out with another book, and she really kind of brings it in. There's been a few other ones like by Paula Hawkins as well. But yeah, like I mean, those are some of the authors that I'm looking to kind of get into on my next set of reads. But um, I'm just really curious if you guys can give me some recommendations because I am looking for more thrillers, more mystery thrillers, more psychological thrillers. Yeah, if you guys can let me know like some recommendations, I would love it. But I really appreciate you guys joining me. I really appreciate all the support. I hope this episode gave you a few thrillers to add to your list, or maybe inspired you to try this genre out for the first time. Who knows? But as always, if you have any recommendations or just want to chat about a book that blew your mind, definitely find me on the Discord channel. I'm still looking to build that up, and I would love to talk to you about books. Don't forget to keep turning those pages, and I can't wait for you to join me on the next episode. But until next time, watch your back, trust no one, and I'll see you in the next episode.